production.
Welcome to Fort Fritz, your one-stop for news, current events, and all forms of entertainment relating to the paranormal, the supernatural, the Fortean, and things that go bump in the night, all packaged and presented in the form of know-nothing know-it-alls, entertaining the unknown. Hello, I am Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Kaz.
Well, howdy there,
and Angela.
Oh, hello.
When we think about the unknown, oftentimes, including myself, I think death. I don't know how that moment is going to grab me. Mandaddy told me a couple of years ago, probably 2 at this point, that the inscription of Tutankhamun's tomb is what again?
Death comes on swift wings.
Ooh, nice.
Isn't that crazy?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just
not
up.
leisurely wings, not like just a seagull
Swift.
flying right. It's coming at you, man.
Yeah.
A
It'd be
seagull.
nice to think, but I don't think that's true for everyone.
No, that is also true.
Well, it came on swift wings to those who defiled the tomb, not just in general. Like those who defiled the tomb, death comes on swift wings.
Well, that's kind of almost like a good thing. Then you're like, you're not going to linger.
Yeah, exactly.
Would death get here? I mean, it's Thursday, and I either got to die or go to work.
I defiled this tomb like 6 hours ago.
Is he in line at the post office? What is going on?
Exactly. So, if you were to die in a parking garage,
No.
I would imagine that would not be good, right?
No.
Not in Florida. You'll be cooked.
So this is from coasttocoastam.com. The title, the headline is, Watch. Security camera films ghost in parking garage, ?
What?
So I present to you Exhibit A. By the way, really good show on Netflix. You should check it out.
Oh, yeah. That looked like up our alley, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good deal.
This is somebody filming a screen that is showing a surveillance camera
This is
footage.
your typical black and white grainy.
But can you see the garage door?
Is that what that is?
That is
Okay.
garage door.
Okay.
Kind of light, looks like it's
This
morphing
light's
on it.
dancing around.
It's dancing
It's
around.
got form to it.
It's at, 12 o'clock noon, right in the center
There's
of the
kind
screen.
of like a...
Oh!
Oh, that was interesting.
And then it moved,
It
Yeah, the
moved
light's
fast.
gone.
Oh, wait, hello.
Oh.
and then it's back. Looks like it's doing the snow
very,
angel.
very amoebus.
Yeah, very, very,
Very
amorphous kind of.
everlasting gobstopper shaped.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Nebulous.
It's
What's
just
it
kind
doing?
of.
What's it doing
Puppy
there?
star thing. What's going on?
Yeah,
Looks like
what's
it's
it
the
doing?
Stay Puft Marshmallow
All right,
Man.
Hero
This is
6.
Gotta be-
Check this out, realradio.fm.
Click shows and blogs.
I don't know if that's a curse word. No, I'm going to turn it down now. So it's this
Now
weird...
it's looking like classic ghost form right there for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It looks like it's doing the lazy version of that breakdancing move where you spin around on the sideways on the
Yeah,
ground.
it looks like it's like Michael Jackson dancing.
That's a coffee grinder, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Ew, and then that thing, it looks
little
like
swoop.
it just swept the leg.
Something weird is definitely happening.
All right.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, at first I thought it's like, okay, that could just be like a bug close to the camera, but no.
Yeah.
It becomes a little ball, and then it becomes almost human-shaped, and then a ball again.
Yeah, it's changing mass. It seems to be changing, at least its
It
size,
adapts.
if not the mass.
It expands.
And TikTok, this thing's long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been going on for a
Maybe-
while.
Like you said, maybe it's reflecting a bug really, really close on the lens. It could be like it's
Something
like a fly.
Yeah,
or a
it
moth
looks
or
like it
something.
could be either a lens, issue or it still looks weird. The
Strange.
way it moves and the whole blobness of it is very unique.
Also, was that like Whitney Houston playing in the background? Like, what was that?
I don't know. I mean,
It's the ghost of Whitney Houston in a parking
I
garage.
think
Oh my
it was
god.
dancing to whatever it was, though.
Yeah, you got to get through the day sometimes, and that means Whitney Houston.
She still wants to dance with someone.
A weird piece of security camera footage from the Philippines shows an anomaly inside a parking garage that left a guard at the site wondering if he'd just seen a ghost. The strange video was reportedly, that's a hyperlink, that probably means cited, recorded in the city of...
We don't know.
in the city, we may never know. In the city of, blah, 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 who cares? It's a ghost inside of a parking garage. It's very shiny.
Yeah.
It does seem
Luminous.
to be luminous. Yeah, it does seem to be
Yes.
either giving off light or just reflecting it. Who knows?
Yep.
It also looks very compact in a weird way.
Yes. It would get very small and then would expand a lot in like a kind of blobus form.
Do you think that might
That's
be...
a word, right?
Yes.
Blobus is, yeah. Do you think if this were some kind of supernatural occurrence or a ghost, do you think it could be an emanating energy, or do you think it's a man with a little mirror?
Oh, well, there's always a skepticism with something like that. I mean, it looks so cool that you always want to leap to the idea that someone faked it. But there's also ideas of not just ghosts, there's things called sprites, which are a different sort of spirit, not necessarily a human spirit. And so there's several things that could be in that sort of area of the cryptozoology map.
That's true.
What do you guys think, Kaz?
I think a cryptozoology map is a really good idea. We should figure out how to draw that out.
Yes.
Sounds cool.
Awesome.
That is a good
That's
idea.
I think it could just be something possibly on the lens, like you said, the light hitting it a certain way. But it definitely moved in a weird way that it was either not that, like something, something supernatural,
or it's not that,
or some crazy CGI someone did. But I could definitely see something being on the lens and that weird optical illusion because lenses don't really work naturally like eyes do. So
they could be fooled,
right?
Well, if we go back to the cryptozoology aspect, there actually is a story that goes hand in hand with this one. Port Charlotte, Florida.
Get out near Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is from yoursun.com, yoursun.com. 6 skunk ape sightings in Charlotte, 8 in Sarasota.
Whoa.
Are you a believer? Question mark.
Oh man, he's totally out there.
So what do you think?
You gotta love any skunk ape, anything like that, any of the swamp ape, any of that stuff going on. Swamp Cabbage Man.
I could see that more in Port Charlotte. I don't think I could see any kind of swamp ape in Sarasota.
It could have just been like a big homeless guy.
Yeah,
it
pretty
could have
much.
just been like a big dirty homeless guy.
Yeah, just a beach guy.
8 sightings in Sarasota. That's what really, got me thinking. The skunk ape, or Florida's Bigfoot, is an animal that may or may not be real. It walks on 2 legs and has reddish black hair, but there's no scientific evidence it exists, at least yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someday it will. You don't know.
Totally might be there.
That inflection was added on the part of the narrator, me, Fritz. But
I don't know how you could type out that sort of inflection.
so these are animals. Cryptids are animals that are thought to be in existence, just plainly on word of mouth,
Legend,
conjecture,
lore.
pseudo fact,
Many
grainy video.
interweb pages.
junk science. Right. We can go on and on and on. I think, Mandaddy, you were the first one to tell me about Jim Phillips always talking about the skunk ape on
About
air.
the Swamp Cabbage Man.
Swamp Cabbage Man. Yeah,
Yes.
so Florida has our own share of creepy cryptids.
Yeah.
Do you know of any growing up about, folklore or what have you?
No, we talked about the Oviedo Lights.
The
I grew
Oviedo
up
Lights.
knowing about the Oviedo Lights at Camp Weewa. There was always a tale of there was some creature in the woods called Two Toes.
Two Toes.
Yeah, so that had it was just how they scared the kids. Like when my brother went there, they told him it was like an army vet that had lost his mind, like a Vietnam vet that had lost his mind and got most of his toes blown off. But when I went, it was like when the Bigfoot craze was going on. So they told it was more like a Bigfoot guy out there. So, but the Oviedo Lights, that's totally real. Don't go out at Oviedo at night and the lights will go over and you die.
Yikes.
That's insane.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe anything like that growing up. We just had the normal, Bloody Mary stuff.
Bloody Mary freaked
Oh,
me out
Bloody
as a
Mary.
kid.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Get you young enough, yeah.
Did you have any in mind, Kaz?
Yeah, actually, my parents had a really strange one. It was
You've been all over the U.S.
Yeah. This one was one that is a little bit more homegrown. I guess they talked about this guy who had died and come back to life, and he lives in the sky, and he knows everything that you think, and he judges you. And then
Is this God? You talk about God, right?
That's what they called it.
They call it God. Yeah.
Wow.
It's my favorite
All right.
cryptid.
That's
My
pretty
favorite
crazy,
cryptid.
Yeah,
man.
it's heavy.
I had one growing up in Apopka, right across from the Wekiva State Park, and it was Hulk. The Indians, it was a Native American, probably from the
Hulk,
Seminole.
Hulk.
I think HAWK.
Oh, Hulk.
But he said it like
Okay.
Hulk. He
Okay.
said it like Hulk. And and a couple of school kids were like, "Yeah, we saw this Indian bolt across the road at 7 a.m, waiting for our school bus." Back when Apopka was 800 people, and because of that, I was like, "All right, so Hawk."
All right, Hawk.
All right.
Hog.
I
I'll
get it.
hold down with that.
But of course, as you're 6 years old, everybody says, "Oh, he's an old man. He's an ancient Indian." And I'm
The guy was
34 now.
Yeah, the guy was
he
32.
He was probably 25. Yeah.
Anyway, there is something to believing in folklore or urban legends because sometimes they can shape who you are as a person. Case in point, a story that made the rounds just last week. Woman who died for 27 minutes shares haunting message when revived.
Oh.
Did anyone see this?
Yes.
I did. Is this the It's Real?
Yeah. This is absolutely that. So what do you know about this, Angela?
just reading headlines on my Facebook feed. This woman died for 27 minutes, and I guess she saw heaven. And when she woke up, someone asked her what she saw, and she could barely write. And so what she wrote was, "It's real," on a piece of paper, and her friend had it tattooed on herself.
And then she asked her, "What do you mean? What's real?" And she pointed up.
Yeah,
because she couldn't talk because of the tube in her throat.
So this is the actual "It's Real" Kaz, if you haven't seen it, and it was just scribbled down like this. And she woke up. Yeah, she was dead for 27 minutes, and you can see she's got bruises all around her eyes in this photo. But they're happy because she's alive, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there is that DMT hit.
Yep.
We have talked about this, and we always try to be scientific. And Sabrina and I were talking about this because there are some studies, that talk about less pleasant brain activity, but then when they come to, they say, it felt like this, it was positive, or it was neutral, or it was not good. This is positive and uplifting. I mean, who wouldn't want to know that, number one, your mother comes back to life, or your aunt? I think Tina Hayes was Maddie Johnson's aunt who came back to life. Tina Hayes did. That's amazing. And then number two, to be like, oh my God, I was dead for a half hour.
Yeah,
it was
that's
crazy, son.
That's crazy long time to be dead.
Yeah,
man.
that
a half
really,
hour.
how do you come back from that? That's pretty insane.
Yeah, even Nikki Sixx was like, "Whoa,
damn." I'm such a skeptic. I just think that's just your brain pumping drugs into your body to calm yourself down, so you kind of go away.
Then you're gonna see what you believe, also.
Yeah, you're gonna have a predisposed vision of what you think is going to be there, so that's what you're gonna see, just like you do in your dreams.
Right. That's what we talked about. How that. When you die, if your brain is still processing chemicals for 2 hours, when you have a dream that seems to last for like 3 hours, it only lasts like a few minutes.
Right.
So if you've got, an hour or so of brain activity, you could live an entire effing life in there.
If you're not going to die, actually, let's say it's a little bit of both. I don't, if you're not actually going to die, I don't think you're going to see. It's predisposed that you're already going to come back anyway, so you're not actually going to see, so you're not actually dying because you were going to come back in 30 minutes.
Well, that's another way of looking at it.
Halfway
sure.
of you halfway believe in it and you halfway believe in science.
Yep, I agree.
Well, you are going to come back anyway. You're going to be able to live, so you actually weren't that close to seeing actually what that would have been.
That's just a teaser trailer. That's just a teaser trailer.
That's just your idea of what it would have been, but not actually real.
Well, on that uplifting note, let's take a break. Mandaddy will tell us a delightful story about one of his worst nightmares. Kaz will give us the 2020 Dune project. And Angela is going to tease Stranger Things and also the Unconcluded, which is a podcast that hits close to home in Central Florida. You are listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Hi, and welcome back to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1. I am your co-host, Mandaddy. Right over there, we got Fritz.
Hey!
Right over there, we got Angela.
Oh, hi.
Right over there, we have Kaz.
Hey, yeah.
And, there's a lot of other ways that you can interact with Fort Fritz. Why don't you tell them about them, Fritz?
Well, you can just download that absolutely for free app from your phone or a laptop computer. Just go to realradio.fm. Download that iHeartRadio app. Search Fort Fritz, FORTFRITZ. A whole bunch of audio drama, theater of the mind kind of episodes where we are trapped in a haunted house. And guess what? Stuff happens from there. It might be funny, might not be. Might be really actually
spooky,
violent, and
yeah,
spooky.
It might kind of creep you out a little bit.
Yep. A lot of people get hurt.
So that's all I have. Download the iHeartRadio app and get weird with this, people.
Please do. And also share it. Remember, let people know about the Fort Fritz experience. Spread the love so we can love more. And speaking of things that love, what are you loving on the TV or in the podcast world right now, Angela?
I'm cheating on us again.
I know.
And I got onto the podcast train. I've been listening to other podcasts. I feel like that's good to support us, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Reach out to other people listening to podcasts. I think that's great. Get
That's
into the
actually
community.
Genius, yeah.
Getting into the involvement. I mean, I do like listening to them because I am kind of snobby about the production value of some of them now. I think ours is pretty good.
You can find some where there's just little things you're just like, oh, really? Really?
Yeah. And, I have no problem with sponsors, but segue. Transitions.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
just go into something in a nice way, because if you're doing some kind of crime podcast where you're talking about something sensitive and all of a sudden you're talking about Dollar Shave Club.
And they found her head in the trash can. Velveeta cheese melts better than any cheese.
Exactly.
Pop it right in the microwave.
in content spots.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
before I tell you who killed her, Costco, is it?
it's like, it really takes you out of it. And I'll be honest, it makes me kind of go,
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's like when you visit a company's website and you're like, yeah, your website's not that great.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of judge them on that a little bit. That's how I feel about the podcast when they have terrible, like, you don't know anything about radio. What are you doing?
You know not what
You're
you're doing.
scum.
On
Figure
way.
it out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I know.
I know. I know.
I may stop listening and unsubscribe.
So,
Ooh.
what is the podcast you've been checking out?
I've been listening to Unconcluded, which I would say is one of those podcasts where production value is okay, but substance is really good. And maybe because it is based upon Central Florida. Do you guys remember Jennifer Keese back in 2006?
Gosh, it's
January.
been that long.
Yes.
Wow.
It was so sad,
January
too.
24th. She was only like 24 years old. And she lived in Mosaic at Millennia, the Millennia Mall off of Conroy Road. And she had gotten up. It was like a Monday. She gotten up. Everything seemed okay. Was supposed to go to work that morning. She never showed up. People called her parents. No one really knows what the heck happened to her. And there is so much that was going on in terms of, was it someone at work? There was some jealous guy at work. There were some people that were working in that apartment complex. It was condos and apartments. It was kind of new. And let's be honest, in that area of Orlando, near Millennia, when you go right outside of Orlando, like right outside of Millennia, it's kind of shady.
Yeah,
it's not-
immediately.
yeah.
And also, it's like closest to Orlando without being, it's almost like unincorporated area.
Yes.
Orlando adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those
Well,
Wild
you
West
think it's
situations.
really nice because you have this ridiculously pompous mall, like right there within a mile of this apartment
To
complex.
call a mall pompous is really
It is,
appropriate.
though.
It's really
'Cause
appropriate.
there's also a part of that mall where it's like normal people shop on this side, and then only super rich people shop on this side of that mall.
so in 2006 that's when she went missing, correct?
Yeah, January 24th of 2006.
I can't even imagine what that area of Millennium Mall looked like because it's been kind of well put up for the past couple of years. They've been doing a lot of construction on that entire area.
They have, and that was kind of one of the things too. Was there all this new build going on, but also some old neighborhoods and some sketchiness about it. So I actually moved into that place 3 years after she went missing.
Oh, wow.
Like
What?
that exact apartment complex.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And
You're
I
crazy,
And you
man.
also knew the pulse shooter. What is with you in crime?
I don't know.
You're just
I have this
always
weird
near
connection
it.
with things. It's very strange.
That
Like
is-
your weird synchronicity. I have a weird connection with like tragic, horrible things.
I'll keep my synchronicity.
It's
You can keep
odd.
yours.
It's very odd.
That's very odd.
Yeah, I moved in 2009, I think.
Wow.
And she went disappearing in 2006. And actually, when I had moved in, I remember there being this weird cord with a button. And they actually installed those as like rape buttons.
Like a panic button?
Yes. In those apartments.
Did they have that in their brochure?
No.
Was that
But I
like a
remember moving
selling
in and being
point?
like, what is this? And then figuring out, oh, that is. And I don't know if they put those in before she moved in or if those were already in because.
That would make me worry about the apartment complex when that's a feature.
Yeah. A little bit.
You know?
'Cause-
We've got a pool,
yeah.
we got a rape button, we got,
And where that apartment is, it's on.
Hold on,
it's,
go back.
it's on Conroy, and then it's right next to John Parkway. On the other side of John Parkway, Conroy becomes Americana, and that's where things get. I mean, it's literally a block away where things kind of get a little shady.
Yeah.
There's all these different theories. She had been on a cruise, and she came back that night. Her boyfriend lived somewhere else. They've been together for like 1 or 2 years. This podcast does not bring him up at all. Usually, in cases like this, 90% of the time, it's a love interest. It's the husband. It's the boyfriend. It's someone in the family.
Someone that they know.
Yeah, someone that they know. Her boyfriend lived across town. He was never a suspect in any of this. She had been on the phone with him at like 10 o'clock at night. That was never a big thing. Her parents lived in, I think, Tampa, St. Pete. She was a big family girl. Like she got back from her cruise, talked to like 3 different people at like 10 o'clock at night, was supposedly went to bed.
And then the next morning
And then the next morning she was supposed to show up at work and she didn't.
Wow.
And then work ended up calling like emergency contact because I never heard from her. And then her parents drove over from Tampa. They got into town at like 3:00. Her brother finally got to her apartment around 3:00. And then there's all this footage of her car being at Huntington on the Green, which is like a mile away in this other apartment complex. They have the actual video footage of her car there and a person of interest walking away from it. But
I remember that one video like between the gate.
Yes.
It was a man
walking away.
White or beige.
Yes, wearing like white clothing and black shoes. But then
With
think
like a
about
hat,
it.
maybe, I think.
They couldn't tell if it was a hat or like a low ponytail or a bun or whatever. And they also couldn't tell if it was white clothing because it was like old footage. Like it's like cheap security camera footage. And they couldn't tell if the lighting made the clothing look white, even though they weren't all white with black shoes. It's very difficult. And I've watched that video like 1,000 times.
I know.
And it's difficult. As with all these podcasts that bring up these old cases, things start to get stirred up again. Searches start to come out again. And the case started kind of getting opened up again, but really hasn't gone anywhere still. They don't know. There is this one insane story of this lady, I think within like 2 weeks of Jennifer going missing, that was like in a jewelry store that like swears up and down that Jennifer Keese came in there with some guy, like she was part of some like human trafficking thing.
Oh,
I heard about that, where it looked like she was, under someone's control, that she was like head down.
And there was something specific the mom mentioned at the beginning of the podcast about this jewelry that she wore was like a 3-pen like diamond thing, and it was like supposed to represent like past, present, and future. And when she walked in this jewelry store, the lady was like, she seemed really odd and out of it, kind of drugged, didn't wash her hair, none of her clothing fit her. Everything about it seemed weird. She looked dehydrated. She looked kind of sick. She looked out of it. She obviously seemed like a really pretty girl, but just didn't seem like she was taking care of herself and didn't really seem interested in anything. But then she weirdly got fixated on this one like pendant thing that her parents had described that she had. And so that's something that she'd wanted. And then she got like everything got all weird from that moment on, but they never actually got her.
So this is Unconcluded.
It's Unconcluded. It's a podcast. Yes.
Where did you listen to it?
I listened to it on the iHeartRadio app.
Ah,
nice. Okay.
Well played.
Yeah. I would say, and that's the other thing about it, I loved the subject matter. The guys who were producing it, they had never done something like this before. They weren't very consistent with their posts and keeping up with people. But then they started kind of doing the thing that most podcasts do as well, where it's like main episode and then a frequently asked questions episode and then a main episode and then a frequently asked questions episode. People get very involved.
Really?
People start coming out of the woodwork and start calling them. This one girl had a whole experience of thinking she saw her the night of in a nearby apartment complex fighting with somebody. And, we're not out there to say that any of these girls had, they've gotten missing. They obviously had shady pasts, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes you just don't know somebody.
Right. I love when people try to blame victims of crime.
Right, yeah. And
it's
so
crazy.
it's like, you don't know what was going on in this girl's life and who she knew and whatever. Like, I mean, people befriend dangerous people all the time and don't realize it,
Is this a Central Florida-based podcast as well?
These guys used to live here, and they don't. I think they actually live out in Tampa now, but they did a couple of trips out here to talk with, like, OPD.
Okay.
And walk around the apartment complexes. And there was one segment where the guy was trying to walk around where they found her car, and people were, like, not happy with this guy walking around and kind of looking around. So we had to get out of there pretty quickly.
Wow. Yeah, there's some areas you don't want to be unwanted.
Not at all.
Oh, yeah.
Unconcluded. It's a great podcast, especially if you live in Orlando, Florida. It was definitely very creepy and unnerving to hear this apartment complex listed 1,000 times as being the place where she was abducted. They supposedly think she's abducted from because they had dog smell. They figured the last place her feet were touching were at the end of her stairs.
Wow.
They think maybe she was
God.
like abducted right from the end of her stairs.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That really is creepy as
And I
hell.
lived there for 2 years. So just like the thought of that, I can imagine the whole place. It just really creeping me out. And then also, just so everyone knows, it is now July 5th, and Stranger Things is now out.
It's happening, people.
Oh, yeah.
Season 3.
People are already done with it right now.
Yep. No spoilers, nothing. But the show is fantastic. I don't even know if season 3 is the last season.
I heard something about that, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
Yeah.
I always feel like, though, if you have like kid actor heavy show, you kind of have to figure something out because kids grow up and everything starts changing really fast. So.
Or they all become college professors.
Right.
That's exactly what'll happen with this crew.
All of them. So please watch Stranger Things this weekend. It just came out July 4th.
In entertainment news, Kaz is going to be telling us about the 2020 Dune project. That's upcoming.
Nice.
That's next year.
Yeah, we put that together. That's
And also, Mandaddy is going to tell us all about the movie Shazam. And he wants to know about your nightmares.
Coming up on Fort Fritz, Real Radio 104.1.
Spooky. Ooh.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fort Fritz. I am your host, Kaz, joined as always by host Fritz,
Hi.
co-host Mandaddy,
Hi.
and Angela.
Just me.
And also,
And also me.
Coming up in this segment, we've got some entertainment news from Kaz. Kaz, what do you got for us? Well,
he's finally lost it.
a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, I spoke about watching the David Lynch theatrical cut of Dune, which is the 2-hour long, which apparently David Lynch himself hated, and we got kind of dragged on the texting service for liking because apparently it's not cool to like.
I was just about to say that. If you would like to text us at any time, 77031, we will respond. And when you mentioned, Kaz, that you watched Dune and you favorably reviewed it, there's one texter who was, I had to calm him or her down.
Get him off the ledge.
But
they weren't happy.
Just that you liked it at all, or that you didn't,
Well,
that you liked that cut?
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Okay.
It seemed like it was that, the cut was not the true one that we should have
There's
seen.
like I said, a 4-hour cut or something out there ridiculous. It's crazy.
So
How long is Dune? Like that theatrical cut?
How many
long?
days
It's
you got?
theatrical is 2 hours,
Okay.
but the director's cut is 3, and then there's one that's even longer.
I didn't know the answer.
my.
to that.
It's a big book.
I obtained the extended cut, so I'm
Oh.
going to watch the extended cut.
Oh, that I'm interested in seeing.
And then in my research during this, I stumbled across the fact that, and I had no idea this was coming out, Denis Villeneuve, who is the critically acclaimed director of Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, among
Ooh,
other...
okay.
Still need to see that. Still need to
Blade
see
Runner
that.
2049?
Yeah.
Oh,
Arrival
gorgeous.
was heralded too as an
Fantastic
epoch
movies.
of science fiction.
Yeah, the man is he makes incredible movies. So he's going to be making the next Dune project. He's already got the cast. He apparently is a big fan of the book and had ideas of turning it into a movie from an early age. So it's something that he's wanted to work on for a while. And it is going to be starring Timothy Chalamet.
Okay.
Chalamet.
Is he
It
a
looks like
person
Frenchman.
or?
Yeah, he's
Or what's the other?
it's a robot,
He's a
synthetic,
robot.
lycanthrope.
Could he be a werewolf
Member of the
slash
undead?
hybrid?
Maybe.
Super intelligent shade of the color blue.
He looks very young.
He is going to be playing the role of Paul Atreides, who was originally starred the actor Kyle MacLachlan.
I love that it's like Paul.
Paul, right? Exactly.
I know,
Savior
great.
of the world.
Paul.
Well, it becomes Maudib.
Yeah, he
so,
looks like,
Maudib's way cooler.
Okay.
He looks
Yeah.
very young, but
Yeah.
He's
He's chiseled.
So yeah, it's going to be quite the cast. Actually, Josh Brolin is going to be playing
Nice.
the role
Okay.
that was originally done by Patrick Stewart. Gunner?
Gunny Halleck.
Yeah, the like grizzled kind of like old swordsman.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a bunch of different people.
he's like old Hollywood handsome.
Who's playing the spice?
Cocaine. In the role of the spice, cocaine.
Adderall. Another cool casting that I saw was Stellan Skarsgård, who is the
Stellan
patriarch of the famous
He
acting
has like
Skarsgård.
12 children, all famous and beautiful.
He's going to be playing Baron Vladimir Harkonnen.
Oh,
Nice.
What a role.
So that'll be cool. That guy's really overblown, very evil emperor type dude. And that the guy is actually a pretty decent actor, and I never thought I would say this, but Batista is also going to be in it.
He's killing it.
Batista's great.
He's fantastic. The dude's really funny.
Yes.
He's good. The scene in Blade Runner 2049 where he fights Ryan Gosling. It was so much cooler because the guy is well versed in like stage combat. Essentially, it looked like very violent, very real. And,
he's the wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One thing about Baron Harkonnen, especially from the Dune that you've seen, in the Dune that you've seen, he's disgusting.
Yeah.
Just huge, bloated, with boils on his face, and just disgusting. I had a Baron Harkonnen toy from that movie.
Nice.
And he was bloated, he had pustules on his face, and you pressed his arms, and his arms moved around. And so anytime anyone ever rode with me, I'd give them the Baron Harkonnen doll, and you had to play with the Baron Harkonnen doll while you drove around in my Ford Festiva named Stumps.
Would it actually...
I wish Uber was around then.
Yeah.
Wow.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Would it actually like pop out pus?
No. It wasn't that realistic.
Me like back it out.
Hit a blood plug on it, you pull
Roll
out.
down the windows. It's like
Disgusting.
manually rolling down the windows.
Apparently they're filming now, and it has a tentative release date or release schedule of November 2020. So,
that's not too
okay.
bad.
Nice.
Oh man, I can't wait.
apparently it is slated to be 2 films too. I think they're going to do a part 1 and 2.
Okay.
It's too big of a story to cram into one movie. It really is such a
Who's the
huge
author?
story.
Frank
Frank Herbert.
Yeah.
Frank Herbert. Yes.
And they're filming in Jordan and Budapest, which are the same locations that he did a lot of Blade Runner 2049 in. There's these like big, barren desert kind of locations and stuff. So
Hungarians represent.
So who did Blade Runner? The director?
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay.
Well, Blade Runner 2049.
Correct.
The one that came out with Harrison Ford clocking
The
Ryan
original
right
one
in the face,
was
right?
Ridley Scott.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
84? Yeah.
84.
Something like that. Around that.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
But Blade Runner 2049 was so excellent. And that was another example of kind of watching a movie and being like, yeah, cool. And then actually putting on, I have a decent set of headphones at the house. And I was like, all right, I'll try this instead. The sound was the, sixth man in that movie or whatever.
Yeah.
It was so intense. All the weird kind of background sounds, the sounds of like the city as he's like driving the thing through his little like, cop car or whatever.
I might have to do this tonight when I get home.
It sounded like prehistoric, and it was just like these huge noises and like terrifying. Like the sense of scope and these areas was incredible. It was a fantastic movie.
As a half hipster, I think I have that on vinyl.
Nice.
Just the sounds.
The sound, yeah.
Oh, the soundtrack.
That's barely hipster. That's barely hipster.
The score
right there.
of Blade Runner 2049.
It was really
Yeah,
good.
that's pretty hipster.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Or maybe
it's a fantastic
maybe just
movie.
Blade Runner, like 1984, like
Okay.
the original movie Blade Runner.
Well, that's hipster points.
Yeah.
That's fine to have.
They're not peak hipster yet. You're not. I actually experienced peak hipster when I was working at this farmer's market a few years ago, and a chick came out wearing an all black dress and one of those big white hats, like big kind of
sun hat.
Was it made
like
of kratom?
It should have been big white sun hat, and for money, you'd give her money, and she would type out a poem for you on a old school typewriter.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Are you sure you didn't just run into Lady Gaga? Like,
It could have been her. It could
That's
have been her.
amazing.
But that, I think, is peak hipster right there.
Yeah.
Is someone writing out poems with a
Next
big
time you
white
see
hat.
that, text me. I want one in. Like,
Oh,
I
all
want-
right.
yeah.
Oh, you deserve a poem.
So,
That should be your check it out. Go check out the lady at the East End Market that types poems on an old timey typewriter
the big white hat.
with a big witch
There you
hat
go.
on.
I'll be there on Sunday.
We did talk about briefly Sandman, another Neil Gaiman. We do this every time.
It's Gaiman.
It's Gaiman.
Neil
It's
Gaiman.
Gaiman.
It was a graphic novel that he put out back in the 90s, I
Oh,
believe.
it was actually a series. It was a comic series.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they attempted to do a movie version of it, but it got killed in pre-production.
Yeah, I think they've been trying to
But
adapt it
apparently
for a
it's
while.
extremely violent, extremely macabre.
People were way into it when it came out. It was a
Sandman.
big deal in the comic book world.
Man, this thing, The Sandman, is a comic book series written by Neil Gaiman, published by DC Comics. It ran 75 issues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
the art was really cool, really good art style. I can't remember who the artist was, but it was quite groundbreaking when it came out. It was at the same time as Hellblazer came out, I think. I feel like it was at the same time when Hellblazer
Is
Constantine.
Hellblazer different than Hellraiser?
Yeah, no.
Slash
you've heard of
Hellboy.
Constantine?
/ Bruiser
Yeah.
Brody.
Constantine's from Hellblazer.
I saw the movie Constantine and I actually kind of liked it. I just
Oh,
forgot
yeah,
to hit
that's
the
a fun
hell out of it.
movie.
It wasn't
Keanu
bad.
Reeves.
Very, very, it very went away from the story in the comics, but it was a fun movie on its own. Now they did a series on Constantine on TV a little while ago. It lasted like one season, and now they brought the character back in Legends of Tomorrow. So Constantine is still on TV, just only on Legends of Tomorrow. Nerd.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
it's
Yeah,
going to
you
be
are.
it's going to be 11 episodes on Netflix. It got picked up for 11 episodes.
Oh, so it's that deep? They already know that. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah,
just being
wow.
optioned.
Alan Heinberg, who wrote Wonder Woman, The Catch, and some of Grey's Anatomy, is set to write and serve as the showrunner.
Some Grey's Anatomy.
Just one or two of them.
I'm
He's reading from an
looks like it's
article.
going to be cool. Mythology tale about Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams, and the Endless, the powerful group of siblings that includes death, destiny, destruction, despair, desire, and delirium.
And also otherwise.
And
And-
Davy.
Just more alliteration things to start with D.
Yeah. And the wacky roommate Dave.
Dangerous.
Dangerous Dave.
So yeah, they attempted to make a
It was also the DD.
they attempted to make this into a feature film in the 90s through Warner Brothers, but apparently several different incarnations, one in the 90s and one in 2000s, died in development purgatory.
Oh, yeah. Development hell.
Apparently he was teaming up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Levitt?
Levitt.
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 Live it.
Leave it, let it.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Johnny Depp.
I love it. Leave it, let it.
was going to star and direct in it before
Has he
bailing on the
directed
film.
anything?
I'm not sure. Probably.
Probably.
He seems like the type. Before bailing on the film following creative differences with the studio in March 2016.
Damn.
So that would have been cool. Him as Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams.
Right?
I don't know. I like the guy, but I couldn't see him doing that.
I agree.
He
yeah.
can do whatever he wants.
I'm not saying he couldn't, that I'm stopping him. I'm saying it's a personal choice.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt has...
Leave it.
He directed the 24-minute long Sparks, an adaptation of a short story. And then in 2010, he directed Morgan and Destiny's 11th Date, The Zeppelin Zoo.
Oh.
That old
So a
chestnut.
couple little indie things. All
That
right.
That is it.
Okay.
So God, I
No,
hope...
didn't he?
Sounds like it
No,
could
he
be
did
a
a movie.
porn.
Didn't he? He did a directorial debut. or
Don
something.
John?
That's it. Yeah, the one where he's a porn addict and his girlfriend is
Oh,
Scarlett
did he direct
Johansson.
that?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Was it good?
I
never
did
saw
not
it.
see that,
Yeah.
but I heard a lot of people talk about it. They liked it.
Okay, well, good. I mean, it sounds like he's got his chops if he's done 3 at least. And this one starred Scarlett Johansson.
Well, so he's not going to be doing Sandman. He was going to make the movie with them, but broke with the studio following creative differences in March 2016. That was just like an
boy.
aside.
3 years ago, we're behind on those times.
Wow.
But
3 years ago,
there
he was
is-
like, no.
there is a version coming out on Netflix for an episodic version of this. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Coming up, Mandaddy will tell us about a terrifying nightmare he had. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
.com.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Welcome back to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1. I am your host, Fritz, joined as always by Angela,
Oh, hi.
Kaz,
Hey.
and Mandaddy.
Hi.
If you have any kind of question, if you want to know what kind of rejoin music we've been playing, all of that kind of stuff, just text it into 77031. That's powered by Sutherland Nissan. Just text it into 77031. And Mandaddy will now tell us about Shazam.
So Shazam is a DC movie, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and that's something that the DC movies are struggling to get back to, because the Marvel movies are just destroying everything. They own everything. Everything is Marvel, and because Marvel found a good way with tone, because comics are silly on just the face of it. You know, you have to have sort of a good blend of the humor along with some really dark, serious stuff.
So with movies, you had escapism in the cinema.
Right.
So if it was French, it would be whatever escape is in French, and then ciné. And then with comic books, you have, I think, like working class, middle class people coming up, like kids. Here's a little tale. If you're done with it, reread it. But this is all I can afford. It's $2.
It's serialized, so the story continues to make you want to get the next one. And this one is just the character Shazam. It's a young boy. I think he's 14 in the movie, who gets imbued with the powers of Shazam, which is like the strength of Hercules, the wisdom of Solomon. Every letter in Shazam is a different power.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The speed of Mercury.
Wait, is Zeus Z?
Yeah, Zeus is the Z, of course.
My boy.
You got it.
Baby?
And so it's just all about that Greek mythology, But it's just a fun movie. It should have come out during the summer.
So what does Shazam stand for?
The wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury.
Whoa.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. And so he's a little kid that when he says the word Shazam, he becomes Shazam.
Shazam!
And then when he says Shazam again, he's back to being Billy Batson. And so it's just fun. Check it out.
Batson?
Billy Batson.
It's a terrible last name.
Yeah, right?
All right, screw that movie. It's out. Angela is determined that Billy Batson was a stupid
I'd rather
name.
just be Shazam all day. But like,
Of course,
what are the
Billy
repercussions?
Batson. He turns back into Billy Batson.
Why?
How does he become himself again?
They make reasons for it.
Hey!
He just pees his pants and he's I'm sorry, I didn't know that. What?
He trips over his shoelace. Normal. Back to Billy.
I really think that that it got but it would have gotten buried because of Marvel's summer hit, so I can see why they did it. And also there's a lot of confusion because Shazam used to be also known as Captain Marvel, and the Captain Marvel Marvel movie just came out, and there is a big controversy about who came up with the name Captain Marvel first, and they say that DC did it just to kind of to be a prick to Marvel, and so there's a whole controversy with that. But the movie itself is just fun. And it actually has a good message about family because he's in a foster home. And so it has a whole thing about your family is who the people that really love you, maybe not your birth family. And so it actually does have a nice little heartwarming message. So good on them.
So out of 7 Shazamerific beard pulls from Mandaddy, how many beard pulls would you rank it?
I'll give it a solid 5. 5.
Okay.
It's fun. It's got really good humor in it. And if you're a fan of the Shazam comics, it does have little, Easter eggs for you. And it's just a fun movie. It should have come out during the summer. And so it's coming out in video on demand. So check it out if you're just looking for a fun movie. But speaking of things that aren't heartwarming, nightmares.
No.
Who likes nightmares? Like real ones that you have that terrify you, that trap you in them.
I think,
I kind of do, yeah. I think we talked about this.
Yeah, Kaz brought this up just a couple of weeks ago, how the brain is one of those, hey, you want to get scared right now, dog?
Yeah, your brain is a haunted house for sure.
Just starts scaring you.
Yeah, no, it's not cool. If you have anxiety, it's just like all day of that. I don't want that at night, too.
Yeah, that's true.
I need a break from you, brain. Take it easy. Go sit over there and be quiet. We'll just have quiet time from each other.
Just don't let me remember any dream and just let me be asleep for 8 hours.
So what happened to me today is I had a nightmare of a very interesting type because ever had a dream inside of a dream?
Yeah.
So when you're dreaming and in the dream you go to sleep and you start another dream. Well, I did that except the second dream became a night terror basically.
So in your dream you thought, all right, I'm tired, I'm going to lay down, and then you started hallucinating inside of that dream.
Right. So in the dream I was just doing stuff, having a normal type of dream, doing whatever weird dream stuff is, where you can't read or look at things. Like if you try to read something in a dream, it's always difficult. The words change and the numbers change.
Run. Yeah, you can't dial out.
You can't yell. You can't punch things like you want to.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to be in. But so the covers and the bed starts going and just shaking, and this dark black cloud starts slowly coming towards me, and I could just see it, like the light being obscured underneath the pillow as it's coming and shaking, and I'm just trying to push and trying to finally get the pillow off my head, and I'm okay, but I'm still in the dream. So I'm in not where I should be. I'm in some different bed, and so someone says to me, "Oh no, you're fine. We heard you making noise. You okay?" I'm like,
but
"No,
who
I'm fine."
said that?
Just random non-player characters
Did
in my dream.
that bother you?
NPCs.
That would bother me.
Yeah,
I'm napping. Who are
in
you?
my head?
But you know how in your dreams, a dragon can walk in and offer you soup, and you're like, "Oh, thank you."
Well, that's a friendly dragon.
And you're just okay with it. That's why the band Soup Dragons got their name. So I went back to sleep in the dream, and then it got worse. Then I could see just all the light coalescing into a figure. And so there was a black figure in front of me, and it just went and got really close to my face, and was just getting closer and closer. And I just started screaming and fighting to push the pillow off my head and not be able to push the pillow off my head, and then breaking off the pillow, and then still being trapped in the dream and realizing, wait, I'm still dreaming. Why can't I get out of this? And having to try to battle out and shake my head, and then finally I just woke up in reality.
So you were aware that your body was still under in this dream?
Yeah, because the second time, when the second time came in, I became lucid, and it was just terrifying because I've had the whole experience I had with sleep paralysis that we documented on the first episode, and this had a very similar vibe to it, but deeper, and that was not fun. I don't recommend that for anybody.
No.
Have you had any kind of life-changing event happen recently in your life?
Nothing I can talk about.
Okay.
Something.
I could see this being like your brain's manifestation of like the realization that one of the cats is sitting on your face and is like trying to smother you.
Into, like,
That's what Genghis does. I told you.
The cat butthole
Is
black hole.
Like the universe.
And the was the purring.
Yes, the purring.
Because when Genghis gets in my head, he starts purring because he thinks he's suffocating me.
Yeah.
And he gets really happy.
Black holes are real. They're just cat buttholes, really.
Yeah, it was just trying to kill you.
Call Stephen Hawking. We figured it out.
Please keep us abreast of the situation. But now it is time to check out Mandaddy. What would you like us to check out this week?
Well, I'm playing. I always play games that are slightly older, and so right now I'm playing The Fractured But Whole by South Park, and they're absolutely hilarious games. Just so much fun. You can't listen to on headphones because you'll wake up everyone in the neighborhood by laughing so loud. For things to check out, please always check out my trivia nights. I'm first, third, and this month, fifth Mondays over at Orlando Brewing at 7 o'clock. On Tuesdays, I'm at Lucky's Market in Vineland from 5 to 7. And then, of course, Cheers Altamont. Great drink specials, a dog-friendly porch. I'm there at 7 o'clock at Cheers Altamont. That's what I'd like you to check out. But hey, Kaz, what would you like everyone to check out?
I actually just saw that apparently Neil Blomkamp is going to be writing and directing a new RoboCop.
Oh, nice.
I'm extremely excited about that.
I tried to watch that last one. I tried to watch that reboot, and it was horrid.
Was it Blomkamp?
Nice.
No, the reboot they did like 4 years ago.
Yeah. So check that out, or check out news of that coming out. I don't know if they have anything other than the fact that Neil Blomkamp is going to be working on it, but I'm excited. I dug RoboCop. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, me too.
I would like everyone to check out something called Hygge. Hygge, Hygge. It's a Danish/Norwegian term meaning coziness, comforts, good things, foods, good conversation. Grab a favorite drink, turn all the electronics off, light some candles, listen to the rain.
And this is a Danish.
Chill out.
It's a Danish concept.
It is a Danish concept. No, it's not a podcast.
HyggeCast.
HyggeCast. That's also just known as ASMR.
ASMR.
Yeah, basically.
Just a fire crackling.
I think. Yeah.
So basically, tune out.
Yeah.
Tune out.
I think it's good for people to be mindful, to surround yourself with things that you like. Check out Hygge. Hygge. It's awesome. It's a cool concept. What do you have for us, Fritz?
Speaking of Hygge, just a couple of days ago, I had friends over from my band, and we borrowed a guitar that we should not have even touched, and we decided to lock ourselves in a room and record said guitar for 5 hours, so that would be Hygge-esque.
Yeah.
And that we decided to come together for one day. It was spontaneous. It was fun. So, yeah, do something with a friend, especially if you have some time off this long, July 4th weekend, and spend some time with your friends. And on that note, everybody's got to get out. So please, Mandaddy, make this quick.
All right, get out. It's come on, get out. You just had the 4th of July. Everything's already blown up. And then Friday, come back and we'll discuss it again. You've been listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Until next time, pleasant dreams.